So as usual, I would like to start with the cultivating right intention, motivation for being here. So try to quiet your mind for a few moments. Then we can contemplate that there is nothing more meaningful than to be able to cultivate love, compassion, both with the mind. And to be able to be help and benefit to others due to those such love, compassions. And at least on minimum level that we can do is not to hurt and harm others intentionally. And if we can live our life like that, our life becomes meaningful. Every year becomes meaningful. Every month becomes meaningful. Every week becomes meaningful. Every day becomes meaningful. Every 24 hours becomes meaningful. And in order to cultivate such wonderful state of mind, love, compassion, bodhicitta, and wisdom, to cultivate those who have not cultivated, to increase and improve those who have already actualized. We need to continuously need to practice through reflection, contemplation, meditation, and studies. For that very purpose that we have gathered here. And may our coming here together become cause and condition to achieve fully enlightened state or fully awakened state. So we can be greatest help and benefit to each and every sentient being. Okay. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By the merits I create through listening to the Dharma, may I become a Buddha in order to benefit all sentient beings. Sangye chodan soge chonam changyo pato tani kya dagi shushe kibe sonam dola benje sangye do. Sangye chodan soge chonam changyo pato dagi shushe kibe sonam dola benje sangye do para. Sure. I think maybe we don't need to do the mandala. So we have just started the stage of the path from last week. And last week we talked about, when you talk about stage of path, the stage of path to what, and we talk about stage of path to enlightenment. And so then in relation to that, we spoke last week whether enlightenment is possible or not. And then we spoke about that. And from Buddhist point of view, enlightenment is possible for every sentient beings because we all have the Buddha nature, that Tathagata, the potential to becoming enlightened, fully awakened. So we already kind of discussed quite a bit last week. So if we really make effort in our practice and work, enlightenment is not just an abstract idea, but is practically possible. And we spoke quite a bit last week, and so we have the cause to becoming enlightened. So in order to actualize that potential, the Buddha nature, to potentialize and to become enlightened, then of course we also need to have, right conducive conditions, and human life is, human life, and especially the precious human life, is the best life or best conditions to actualize that enlightened potential, the Buddha nature, and to become a fully enlightenment. And so today I'm going to talk a little bit about this. In Buddhism, we use the term precious human life. And in terms of the verses, I think it's 85, where it says, relies on how this body of freedom and richness is found, but once it's difficult to obtain and is quickly lost. I seek your blessing to make it worthwhile and take its essence without being distracted by the meaningless affair of this life. So that's the verse number 85 that you find. So even though each and every sentient beings have the potential to become fully enlightened, or the Buddha nature, or Tathagata Garbha, but in order to it is actualized, you need many other conditions, and you have and so not every sentient beings have that same conditions to actualize that, the best condition to actualize that. It is like, the seed, whether through seed blown by the wind or carried away by the birds, and then they drop into the sand. Some of them drop into a very nice soil in the forest. Some of them are different. So even though seed is everywhere, but in certain area, they don't have the condition to that seed to grow, like when it is in desert where there is no water and where there is the fertilizers are not good. But when it's dropped in a right condition, then the potential for that to actualize and to grow the plant from that seed increases. And same way, even though all sentient beings have that seed, the Buddha nature, but the human beings, and especially human being with what we call, 18 qualities, 8 freedom and 10 endowment, those 18 qualities, then that become the most conducive conditions, that kind of being or rebirth become the most conducive condition to actualize that enlightenment, or the seed of the enlightenment. So recognizing that help us to, not waste that incredible opportunity. And so talking about the precious human life, so of course, generally all life are precious. Okay, all life are precious, and especially human life is even more precious in a sense that human has this incredible mind, the cognitive ability, and so because of that, it becomes more precious. And then the life with aiding qualities, human life with aiding qualities, become the most precious, And so, without going so detailed, I just want to kind of touch on those the aiding qualities a little bit, So what we call aid freedom, aid leisure, sometimes it is called translated aid freedom, sometimes it is aid leisure. And those are the, a state that our human life that is free from aid states where they don't have much opportunity to practice the Dharma. And of course, if you don't have much opportunity to practice the Dharma, then of course, then it will be very challenging to actualize the Buddha nature and to become enlightenment. And so, for example, if we are born in a narak, there's a lot of sufferings. If we are born in a suffering of heart and coldness, if we are born in a preta, there's a suffering of a lot of hunger and thirsty. If we are born in animals, there's a lot of, sufferings, generally suffering, thirsty, hunger, heat, hot, like us, a lot of, but specifically, the suffering, or in other ways, they don't have the same state of mind like we have. They don't have the same cognitive ability that can to be able to use reasoning and logic and contemplate and meditate. It is extremely hard for the animals, even though some of them are very smart. But still, if you teach them how to develop love, compassion, meditate on that, how to develop wisdom, then it will be not easy. And so therefore, and even we are born in certain higher, where there's less suffering, such as, long life Goram, but because they get so distracted, again, they don't have the opportunity to practice the Dharma. Because, like we see, even in our life, we see when we have too much pleasure, then we get distracted with them, and then we run after them, and we struggle to find time to practice the Dharma, And so definitely also, so therefore, we at the moment are free from all these 4 different type of beings that has, very less opportunity to practice the Dharma, very difficult to practice the Dharma in such rebirth, in such state, And then even as a human beings, if we are born in a time when there is no Buddha Dharma, then of course we cannot practice the Buddha Dharma. If we have been in the world before Buddha came, when there was no Buddha Dharma, even we are born as a human beings, but because there's no, there's no Dharma, so we cannot practice the Buddha Dharma, And even we are born after Buddha came, and when the Dharma is still there, if we are born in a certain places where there is no access to Dharma, we know in many parts of this world, where people doesn't have, in certain places, they don't have access to the Dharma, certain places, certain countries, certain places, they are not allowed to practice the Dharma. You don't have the freedom to practice the Dharma, And even we are born in a place you know, where we have freedom to practice the Dharma, you know, and Dharma, we have access to Dharma. Dharma is available and we have freedom to practice the Dharma, but still, you know, if we have some challenge and disability, you know, with our senses and mind, then again, it will be much more challenging, more difficult, you know. It will not be so easy, you know. And then even your, you know, faculties are in a good shape. You know, you are in a good place. The Dharma is available. You have the freedom, and you have your faculty intact, undefective. But if you have a wrong view, you know, misunderstanding and wrong view, then, you know, there's no interest. You know, there's no interest in the practicing because you already made up your mind due to certain, you know, misinformation, due to certain ignorance, due to certain wrong views, you know, without really exploring and without really studying and practicing, really knowing. So you already kind of shut down yourself. And through that, then, so if we really think about that, we are so fortunate. We are free from all those states, those 8 states. You know, those 8 states that mentioned are the obstacle to practice the Dharma, you know, obstacle to practice the Dharma. And we are free from those obstacles. So by understanding, recognizing that, we should feel grateful every day. We should feel grateful every day. How lucky, how fortunate I am that I am free from all these obstacles to practice the Dharma. Not everyone have that kind of fortune, you know. Regardless of whatever our financial and other situation, but at least we have the situation to practice the free from the obstacle, free from main obstacles, some of the main obstacles to practice the Dharma. So we meditate with each of them, go through each stage, and we try to feel how fortunate, how lucky, how grateful I am to have this incredible opportunity and freedom. So that is how we have to feel when we meditate on that. The joyfulness, the gratefulness, the gratitude. Feeling so fortunate, so lucky, so grateful, you know. And then, you know, 10 endowments, you know. So the 8 freedom are that we are free from obstacle to practice the Dharma. Some of the main obstacle to practice the Dharma. Or sometimes we call leisure. We have the leisure to practice the Dharma. If you are born in one of those 8 states, then you don't have as much leisure to practice the Dharma. And then the 10 endowment or richness are like the right conducive condition. Not only we are free from obstacle to practice the Dharma, but we have also gathered the right conducive condition to practice the Dharma. Sometimes even you are free from obstacle or something, but you might not have the right conducive condition to actualize something. So you need that both. One, being free from the obstacles and having gather or actualize all the conducive conditions to accomplish something. So here, in order to practice Dharma, then not only we are free from the main obstacle, but we have also gathered the main conducive conditions. And, you know, conducive condition from the external side and internal side, from other side, from our side, you know. From other side, you know, again, we are born in a, what we call, you know, light age, not a dark age, you know. In the dark age where the Buddha has not appeared, you know, So when Buddha is not appear, then Buddha Dharma is not there. But we are born in a light age where Buddha has appeared and where Buddha Dharma is there. So where the Buddha has appeared in that age. And secondly, not only Buddha has appeared, where the Buddha actually taught the Dharma so that we have access to the Dharma. Because sometimes enlightened being can appear, but due to certain sentient beings, karma and condition, they might not actually teach because they don't see the benefit in that circumstance, in that time, to those sentient beings. So in our time, not only the Buddha appeared, but actually Buddha taught. And so because he taught, the knowledge is still there available for us. We have access to the knowledge that has been passed unbrokenly from the Buddha himself through all his students up to now. And not only that, we are so fortunate that we are born in this time where the Buddha Dharma is still alive. Because Buddha can appear, he can share the knowledge, but then there come a time when it kind of decline and disappear. And if we are born in a time when it has disappeared, then of course, again, it will be, we wouldn't have access to the Dharma. So we are born in a time when not only Buddha appeared, taught, and the Dharma is still alive, still it is, we still have access to it. So yeah. And then we know we are born in a situations or time or places where we have the support from our Sangha members. It will be very challenging if you don't have support around you, especially for a beginner. We need the support of the Sangha. Of course, when you have reached very high level of practice, then of course, no matter where you are, in whatever situation, you will be able to practice. But for the beginner, for us, we are very much influenced by our environment, by surrounding us. So if we don't have the supporting Sangha members, then again, it will be challenging. But again, we have Sangha members, to support us, to help us, to encourage us when we feel a little bit kind of discouraged, to inspire us, and so again, that is the conducive conditions to practice the Dharma. Having that the Sangha members, and then also not only Sangha members, then again friends, friends who, even though they might not be following same spiritual path, but they are supportive of us in our path, our family members. Maybe they might have other path, they might have other spiritual path, or they might not have any spiritual path, but still they support us. There is some support for us. And again, that helps us. If we don't have that support, then it becomes a lot of struggles, And I have heard, in certain cases, in certain situations, where, your family's members make you choose whether you choose your path or you choose me in very difficult situations, And some people, they don't want to choose that. They don't want to make that choice. They want to have both. They don't want to lose their family members. At the same time, they don't want to lose also their spiritual path, the Dharma, which they feel very strongly helpful and connected. But sometimes they are being asked to make those choice, and you have to make choice, and it's extremely difficult choice, painful choice. And so again, we are so lucky and fortunate who are not being forced into that kind of situations. It's heartbreaking when it is a really, really heartbreaking when you end up in that kind of situations. So sad. But it happens. In reality, it happens. It happened to many people. And so again, we try to, be very grateful and thankful every day for your families, not putting you in that kind of situations. Therefore, it is more easy for us to practice the Dharma. So that is in terms of from external, the conducive condition that we have gathered. So again, as we go through each of them, as we meditate, each of them, again, with each of them, we feel so grateful, so thankful, fortunate, and feel very rejoicing, joyful in that. And from our side, again, we are born as a human beings, so grateful. So when we say human beings more precious, it is not to put down other beings, okay? It's not saying that human beings are better and the other beings such as animal are worse, but we are talking from certain perspective that we human beings have a certain intelligence and mind, especially the cognitive ability, to be able to use reasoning and logics, because in the practice of Dharma, that is very required, using analysis, investigative, reasoning, logic, especially when we meditate on emptiness or the wisdom and so forth. And then, the ability to kind of contemplate, meditate, so that human mind is able to do that, but it's extremely difficult, such as animals and some other beings. And so from that perspective, then we think, to practice the Dharma, then feeling so grateful and thankful for that, to have that ability, that mind, and that intelligence. And not only we are born in as a human being, but we are born in a, place where there is a Dharma, where there is Dharma followers, such as both lay practitioners as well as ordained practitioners, so then it helps and support us when we see both ordained practitioner, lay practitioner. It gives us inspiration, encouragement, and so on, so that is again very helpful. If you don't see any other practitioner, then sometimes it might be, when we feel down, there is nothing to inspire us, nothing to encourage us. Sometimes when you do practice and when you feel a little bit down, low down, especially you will notice when you are doing practice together, you feel a little bit lazy, you feel a little bit uninspired, you feel a little bit kind of, and then you see other members there, with a lot of enthusiasm and effort, and then it inspires. Oh, if they have so much enthusiasm, I should also do that, and then it gives you some kind of inspiration. I remember when we're doing, there is a practice called Nyungne, purifications and fasting, 1 day fastings, and not even drinking, and then with that you have a lot of frustration, physical kind of in those practice. And sometimes you feel, unenergized, you don't feel you have enough energy to do a lot of frustrations, that day you are fasting and all of that. But then sometimes you see small monks, oh, they are frustrating so quickly, and then again, it gives you some kind of energy or inspiration when you see them doing, oh, those so young ones, they do that, you should be. Or sometimes you see very old Lama, and they are doing a lot of practice, even with their age, they are very much more older, and they are doing the same fasting, and so when you see that again, you think, oh, I should also put more effort. I should practice. So that kind of inspiration you give when you are doing together, when there is surrounding sanghas, members like that, so that it really helps in your practice, especially when you are feeling a little bit kind of down and low and uninspired, unencouraged, So that helps, and then, we already, that we have this body and mind in functioning, that we don't have so much defect that become an obstacle to practice the Dharma, In some cases, even people have the inspiration and even they want to practice. Sometimes, due to their sudden defect in their mind, sometimes there are sudden defect in their body, physical, and then it becomes much more challenging, not easy, much more difficult, but we are kind of not in that situations. And so again, that make easier for us to practice the Dharma. It make us easier to practice the Dharma. The conditions are more easier to practice the Dharma. Whereas for some people, the conditions are much more difficult to practice the Dharma, And so therefore we have to feel grateful, thankful that we have such easy, compare relatively to many others, that we have easier conditions to practice the Dharma. And so therefore we shouldn't waste that, And then, we haven't created one of the, what we call, most heinous negative karma, such as killing your own father, mothers, and arhat, and so forth. So if we create that, then again, due to that strong negative karma in this life, if we have done such a strong negative karma, then again it becomes much more challenging because the negative karma is so strong. The negative karma is so strong because it is so strong. So it affects your mind. It affects your mind, because it affects your mind in such a negative way that it becomes an obstacle to practice the Dharma. It becomes an obstacle to practice the Dharma. So, and so therefore, we are so fortunate that we don't have that obstacles, and we're free from that obstacles. And instead we have that right conducive conditions to practice the Dharma. And then, that not only that, then we have some kind of interest and faith in the Dharma, Not everyone has that, If you see in the world, there are so many human beings, not everyone has same kind of interest to the Dharma, And if you don't have interest to Dharma, of course, then that becomes an obstacle to practice the Dharma, But if there is a interest, strong interest, aspirations towards that, then it becomes more easy to practice the Dharma because you have that interest. That interest drive you to practice, and practice become more easier because you have interest. When you don't have interest, then even you try to practice, it's like someone with a stick, feel like little kind of feel like that you're almost like stressed out, burden, So then that becomes more difficult to practice the Dharma. Instead, there should be joy, joyful in the practice of the Dharma. There should be a joy in your practice. And when you have interest, the joy comes easily, more easily when you have the interest. So going through all of that, then, feeling, so we try to go through each of those steps, all these 18 qualities, and then, with each of them feeling so lucky, so grateful, so thankful. And through that, cultivating a strong joy, joyfulness there. And when you have that kind of precious human life, with 18 qualities, not only so you recognize that, And then, we also understand and recognize how precious it is, how valuable it is in terms of accomplishing temporary happiness and ultimate happiness, in terms of cultivating happiness for ourselves or for others, in terms of the ability to work for well-being of ourselves and well-being of others. This human being, especially the precious life, has that potential. So recognizing that, for example, with this human life, we can achieve, a lot of conditions to achieve pleasure of this life, to have some delicious food that you like, to be able to take some vacations that you like to take, to be able to go to a restaurant sometime when you want to go, to be able to kind of enjoy something that you want to enjoy, even though maybe we might not be able to accomplish everything we want to do because there's endless, but at least we have that, this life has the potential to achieve that. And then from Buddhist point of view, not only that this human life has the potential to create cause and condition for better and higher rebirth and happiness in the future life. And not only that, this precious life have even more. This life has even the potential to achieve complete freedom from all the delusions, from all the sufferings, and to have a lasting happiness or nirvana, liberation, whatever you call it. It has the potential. Not only that, we have the potential to achieve fully enlightenment, fully awakened state. When we really think about it, we really contemplate about that, then we begin to see how precious this life is. The potential, incredible potential that this life has. When we understand that, then when we have some difficulty in our life, we'll not easily give up. Because you see so much potential in that life, in this life, so much potential. How can you give up just because when you face some challenges here and there in our life, because you see so much potential, you don't want to lose that. But if you don't see that potential, then when we face some difficulty, then we might think, oh, better maybe, life come to end, That is when we have not really understood incredible potential and the preciousness and the value of the life. All the great enlightened beings, Buddha himself, all the Indian great masters, Nagarjuna, Shantideva, and all the great, other masters in Tibet and other countries, everywhere, they all achieve their enlightenment through the same life like us. We are no different. With same this human life. With same human this life, they have achieved what they have achieved. So if we put effort, we have the same potential. If we put effort and if we utilize our life properly in correct way, in our potential correct way, then we have the same potential to achieve that. It was not like those enlightened beings were born in different kind of body or different type of life. It was same like us. Sometimes we might feel, I'm hopeless. They are enlightened. But actually, they become enlightened with this, which we feel hopeless. They became enlightened with what we feel the hopeless, that same being, same kind of state of sometimes we differentiate as is like inherently we are bad and inherently they are good, you know, and so difference. But actually, it starts with the same. And to recognize that is important, that we don't become hopeless, you know. Mm. So, you know, in order to have we talk about this, the happiness, you know, even sensory pleasure in this life, we can achieve with this life. We work hard and then earn enough to have all these sensory pleasure, you know, delicious food, you know, something that make you, you know, by looking, you know, whatever. All also with this life we can develop sense of peaceful mind in this life, you know, through our practice meditations. Not only kind of sensory pleasure, but internal joy and happiness, sense of peacefulness, sense of contentment. We can develop that through practice meditations. So many people are able to develop that. And we have the same potential. And probably we have some experience of that, even though maybe sometimes the experience does not last for long, but we have, you know, it might not last for long, you know, hours, days, months, weeks, but sometimes we do have certain small moments of those peacefulness. And that just shows that we have the ability to achieve that. So we can achieve with this, you know. I don't know whether the animal and others have that same kind of ability to do that, you know, to be able to find through meditation, through practice, to be able to find that kind of inner peace and sense of total contentment in that way. Anyway, so, you know, we can achieve that. And then, you know, in order to have a better high rebirth and better future and happiness in life, then of course we need to practice, you know, engage in the practice of moral discipline, you know, and to have a human rebirth, you know, and then on top of that, not only human rebirth, but, you know, prosperity, long life, healthy, and with a lot of, you know, supporting friends, families. Then on top of that, then we try to practice, you know, on top of the moral discipline, then, you know, the practice of generosity, patience, and others. So we have the, again, potential, the ability to practice all of that. And definitely, you know, in order to achieve the lasting happiness of, you know, liberations, you know, we need to free our mind from all the delusions. And again, we do have that ability to free from all the delusions through our practice. And not only that, then we also have the potential to achieve the happiness, as I mentioned, enlightenment, that is free from all the obscurations. Not only the obscuration delusion, but obscuration knowledge as well. Again, we have the ability, the potential to that through practice and meditation, because through practice and meditation, we can develop highest level of bodhicitta, the awakening mind, and the wisdom. And by cultivating that highest level of wisdom and the bodhicitta, we can achieve that. And so we have all this incredible potential. So again, the more we think about the potential that we have, you know. For example, you know, let me give you an example. I don't know whether that works or not. For example, you know, someone has incredible talent, you know, incredible talent, naturally, you know, to be a very, very accomplished, successful in one particular area, you know, but they might not be so great at other area. other skills. They might have a lot of weakness in other areas. But if they recognize their potential and their skill, and if they work on that, even they have some kind of weakness in other, that wouldn't kind of make them hopeless, to become a great and accomplished and success in whatever, because they have the potential to do that. And it's same, if we recognize how much potential we have to achieve that inner peace and joy and happiness, and for ourselves and others, then even we might be shortcoming in some other areas, will not be so overwhelmed by those shortcomings. Do you get it? And give up, because you know that you have incredible potential in this area to achieve the inner peace and enlightenment. When we don't understand that potential, then when we have small kind of obstacle in certain area, because we are not so great at that, then we might feel, my life is hopeless. I'm hopeless, I can't achieve anything. I can't do anything like that, So it is incredibly important to really contemplate and really feel that potential that we have, especially from the spiritual point of view, to the spiritual potential, the Dharma potentials. So by contemplating and meditating on the precious human rebirth, with 18 qualities, then we come to conclusion that I must practice the Dharma. I must practice the Dharma. Because I have all the right conditions, main condition to practice the Dharma, and free from all the obstacles. So when I'm free from all the obstacles and have gathered all the right conditions, if I don't practice now, when should I practice? When can I practice? When should I practice? If you cannot practice when you have all the right condition, it will be extremely difficult when you don't have all these conditions to practice. And then by recognizing the preciousness of that human life, because of achieving our own well-being, others' well-beings, and happiness, this life, futures, nirvana, liberation, then we think, not only I need to practice Dharma, my main focus should be the Dharma, My main focus should be the Dharma. Of course, we have to work on other things, because we need to live and we need to survive, and we need a lot of condition for that. But at the same time, the main focus in our heart, in our mind, should be the Dharma, making that as the main in our heart, Dharma, And sometimes we do that, like in my heart is here, but I have to do something else to achieve that. Do you get it? Yeah, same way in our heart, the Dharma should be in our heart, the main one. And of course, we have to do other things. We cannot ignore other things, because to achieve that also we need other support, conducive conditions, and all of that. But in our heart, it should be always the main is the Dharma. Main is the Dharma. And when we talk about Dharma, when we talk about Dharma, it means cultivating love, compassion, bodhicitta mind, the wisdom. When we talk about Dharma, it means, trying to be kind, benefit, and help to others as much as possible. On minimum level, at least we don't try to intentionally hurt and harm others. We don't take joy in others' pain and suffering. We don't take joy in others' pain and sufferings. Instead, we feel other pain and sufferings. Understanding and feeling other pain and sufferings. Practicing Dharma means, engaging in the virtues that give joy and happiness to oneself and others, and refrain and restrain from unvirtues that lead to pain and suffering to oneself and others. So those should be the main kind of, things that is deeply rooted in our heart. Deeply rooted in our heart. Through reflecting, contemplating, meditating, it started to become more strong, more rooted, more stabilized in our heart. And then, that become the main in our mind, core, the main thing in our mind, regardless of whatever we do, but we never it is always the main in our heart. It's like, one example, mother's love and concern for the child. Even they are doing others, the child is always in their heart, always thinking about them. Even when they are not together with the child, even though they might be doing other chores, other things, and even though they are not helping the child directly now, but still in their mind, thinking about the child all the time, wherever they are, whatever they are doing. Same like that, regardless wherever we are, whatever we are doing, but always thinking of the Dharma. Dharma is in your heart all the time. Dharma is always in the heart. So that should be the case. Even when you are enjoying whatever entertainment we might be enjoying, still while you are enjoying your entertainment, still Dharma is in your heart. You remember the Dharma. Still being with the Dharma. Then, understanding. So, yeah. And also then, also understanding how such precious human life is not easy to obtain again and again, how rare and how difficult it is to obtain again, in terms of example, in terms of the numbers, in terms of the cost, in terms of examples, the Buddha said in one of the sutras, that to have a precious human life is like, very rare. He gave an example, probably many of you have heard, like golden yolk that is being kind of in the ocean, blown away by the wind here and there. And in the ocean, bottom of the ocean, there is a turtles, blind turtles. And it comes once every 100 years on the surface. The chance of that yolk going in the head of that blind turtle that comes once every 100 years, you can't say it's impossible, but the chance is very little, And so that is one of the examples Buddha gave, from example point of view. In terms of number, even though we can't kind of do number with the others being, if we just see the beings that we see in our world, if you compare human beings, number of human and animal, there's no comparison. Human beings, even just one type of animal, ants, there's no comparison of the ant in the world. Or even just one specific fish in the oceans, So in terms of number, humans are much more less, even though we think, of course, even the human population growing, but compared to others, it's very little. And within the human beings, who have those 18 qualities is very small number. Meaning among human beings who have all the obstacle to, free from obstacle to practice the Dharma, and who have gathered all the right conducive condition to practice the Dharma, very few have that kind of conditions. And from that, if you see the number, then it is very rare and difficult. And from the cost from the view, as I mentioned, in order to have it's just a human life, we need to have the practice of moral discipline. And we know with our own practice how it's not so easy to be able to practice moral discipline purely, without diluting, without polluting, it's not easy. If the cost is not easy, the result will be not easy. If the cost is rare, the result will be rare. I mean, we know with our mind, the negative thoughts comes naturally, like a steam running down, isn't it? Like a waterfall, negative thoughts just keep on endlessly coming, even when you're sleeping. And when it's positive thoughts, it's so difficult. Even you put effort to practice, to feel positive thoughts, we struggle. So with that, we know, we know that the negative karma and negative actions come easily, and positive karma and actions come with more difficulties. And if that's the cases, then again, resolve. Because to have a precious human rebirth, then again, it requires cause, cause and condition. We need to create cause and conditions. And so with that understanding, then, So when we understand how rare it is, how difficult it is precious and is rare, then you have sense of not wanting to waste it. If it is not rare, if it's easy to get again and again, we can think, oh, even I missed this time, I can try next one. Even I missed next one, I can try the next one. But that might not be the case, because it's rare and difficult. When you have the opportunity now, you must utilize it, because, it's not so easy to have again and again like that. So then you feel sense of urgency, sense of not wanting to waste it. And instead you utilize it and make most of it as much as possible. So that is the point of meditating on that, The point is that you feel it is so precious and so rare. You want to make it meaningful, your life, every year, every month, every week, every hour, every second. You don't want to waste every second, because it's so precious and it's so rare. And you know that every moment is so precious. So if we can feel that, really deeply, profoundly, if we feel such precious and rare, then I don't think we will waste the life as we are wasting at the moment. Because we don't feel that from the depth profoundly at the moment. And to really feel it, we have to really do meditation practice. And if we do that, then you will feel that. And that is why, some of the great masters, Milarepa, he achieved enlightenment in one lifetime, because he put so much effort, never wasted every moment. The reason he didn't waste his moment, he saw so preciousness of that. He saw every moment is precious. Every moment you can get closer and closer to enlightenment. Every moment you get closer to achieve loving kindness, compassion, bodhicitta mind. Every moment you see you are getting closer to all the bodhisattva path. Every moment to enlightenment. It is like, you have a lot of money, maybe not a lot of money. Let's say you have money, So it could be invested, to get profit. Whether you have the investing or whether you have, depositing, where you get a, what do you call, now I'm the word slipping. You get interest, okay? If there is a way you can make a lot of interest, earning from the interest or other kind of investment. So if you are unable to invest or get the interest for 1 week, 1 month, you feel so, you are wasting something, You want to invest now because you want to get the most out of it. The same way, that is how you should feel, in the Dharma practice through that. And that is how, because like someone like Milarepa, just to give an example, he didn't have time. His clothes are worn out. And sometimes he think, oh, I should kind of sew them. Then he think of preciousness, oh, there's no time to waste just for sewing. Instead, I should utilize that time to meditate. So because every moment he's incredible preciousness. So therefore, instead of wasting, trying to sew the clothes, he would rather kind of wear worn out and utilize his time for that precious, for the Dharma practice. And then there is another Katama master who used to say he was meditating in a cave, and whenever he need to go to the toilet, he have to come from the cave. They don't have attachment inside the cave, okay? Bathroom attachment inside the cave. Maybe we would like to have, isn't it? I would like to have bathroom attachment in the cave. So he had to go out. And next to the cave, there is a small bushes. Every time he go out, sometimes his robe is kind of picked by the bushes. Then he think, oh, maybe when I come from the bath toilet, maybe I will cut the bush. Then when he come and then he said, think, oh, I would rather meditate that time than actually putting the time to cut the bush. And then he go inside the cave. Again, when he go inside the cave, again, the rope kind of go through the bushes and a little bit kind of uncomfortable, a little bit of, but again, then he think, oh, maybe I should cut the bush. But then again, he think, why should I waste my time cutting the bush when I could use that for meditating? Such are the practitioners. That's why they achieve enlightenment. And that is why they achieve enlightenment quickly. Because they utilize every moment to practice. And they do that because they see the preciousness of every moment. For us, we spend hours, gossiping, hours and hours, on the news, all kind of things, entertainments. Never feel that we wasted the time, Oh, I had a good day today. Never felt that I wasted my day today. Isn't it? Oh, I have a nice day. I had, this and that. And then that is how our life goes by. Waste so much time. We always complain, we don't have time for the Dharma because I have work, I have families and this and that. But actually, that is just an excuse. I've seen people who are retired, who doesn't need to care of family, who still struggle to find the practice for the Dharma. So when you have work, job, when you have family, we feel that is, oh, I wish I'm free from the family responsibility. I wish I'm free from the job so I can have more time to practice the Dharma. Once you are there, same. Still you struggle to find Dharma. You have a lot of time. You have no more family responsibility. You don't have to go and work, 8 hours a day, 5 days or 6 days a week. But still, by the day, what do you do today? If you reflect, after 1 week, what did you do in 1 week? After 1 month, what did you do in 1 month? How much you practice this? After 1 year, what did you do in 1 year? How much practice you did? How much study meditation you did? Still same as before. And a lot of time because we don't understand the potential and the preciousness and of that, And the precious life is so precious, especially this life so precious. So we have to make most of it and make it meaningful. Make it meaningful and take essence from this life. Make it meaningful. What does making meaningful means? Making meaningful means, we can help others, be help to others, try to be a help to others as much as we can. Even we cannot be help to others physically, at least we try to develop love, compassion, bodhicitta, even from the distant. Even though you might not be in some places, some distant, where you might not be able to help them physically, but still you have sense of concern, understanding their feeling, love, compassion. And through that, cultivating that love, compassion, you can send some prayers. You can dedicate your practice, So as long as you love and compassion, we will find a way to benefit them directly, indirectly. We will be able to be able to help them, whether it's, materially or spiritually, Even we cannot help them materially, we might be able to help them spiritually. And so therefore, that is just as every day, we feel like, what did I do today? What virtuous thing did I do? What meaningful thing I did today? Sometimes it is hard to show much. And then we think 1 week, in this week, what did something positive I did, something virtuous I did, something meaningful I did? Sometimes hard to find so much. Months goes, years goes, and then our life comes to end. At the time of our life, when you are in the bed, when we look back our life, what did I do in my life? Something meaningful. We don't want to end up regretting. I wish I could have done this. I could have done that. It's too late at that time. At the moment, it's not too late. At the moment, it's not too late. And if we keep on doing practice, and if we keep on working with our mind, if we keep on trying to be more compassion, develop more compassion, more kindness, more bodhicitta, more virtues, in whatever way, physically, verbally, mentally, in whatever small, big. If we do that, then, at the end of our life, when you look back, well, I might not have been perfect, but I have tried my best and I have been able to do those meaningful, those beneficial. I'm quite satisfied. I'm happy. That should be our state, as Menika Dharma Master says, for a great practitioners, when the death comes, there should be joy, you know, instead of fear and anxiety and all things. The practitioner will have great joy to face that reality of death. For a middle practitioner, you know, they have no hesitation, even though there might not be same joy like other ones, the highly developed practitioner, but they don't have hesitations to encounter that fact or that reality of death, facing the death. And on minimum, they said, you know, you should not have so much regret at the time of death. You should not have so much regret, you know, and that is the case, you know, we can all walk out with that so that we can start walking with that so that we don't regret at the time of, when that time comes, that we don't have much regret, you know. We have less, even if we have regret, at least we have less regret so that it doesn't overpower us with all this negative emotion and thoughts, you know. So, and we have the time and opportunity to make our life meaningful that we don't regret at the time of death, you know. And we have to start now, you know. We can't wait because we think, you know, I can do tomorrow, next week, next month, next year. Time go fast. 5 years already gone. 10 years already gone. 20 years gone. 30 years gone. Very fast. And then, you know, there we are. So by meditating on precious human rebirth, it should give us energy and boost to practice the Dharma. Sense of giving us boost, inspirations, energy to practice the Dharma, you know, and also joy in practicing the Dharma, you know. That is the purpose of meditating on precious human rebirth, to come to that kind of result, you know, so that we are more inspired, more boost, more energy, yeah, to practice the Dharma. Sense of urgency, you know, sense of urgency to practice the Dharma, because we don't want to waste because every moment is so precious. We don't want to waste every moment, you know. So I think that is more or less, I think maybe for today. So I'm going to kind of open now for any questions, any comments, anything regarding what we have just talked about, discussed about, or any other things. So you can unmute yourself and do that, or you can send. So please feel without any kind of hesitations, shy. Yes, please.
I have a question about Buddha nature.
Yes, please.
I was just wondering, is Buddha nature infinite?
Infinite in what sense?
Everywhere. Everywhere in place and time, I guess.
Yeah, you can say it is everywhere within the sentient beings, okay? So you can't say Buddha nature in the rock. We don't talk the Buddha nature in the rock. But of course, we talk about the Buddha nature within the sentient being. So every sentient being has the Buddha nature. So it is pervaded in all sentient beings. And then, of course, all the time, you know. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thanks.
Sarah, you're next. Go ahead, Sarah. Please unmute.
Yes.
I don't have a question.
Okay, then Mummy Max, please, Mummy Max.
Okay, so if there's no questions, I thought there would be a lot of questions, but I guess not.
Geshe-la, I have another question, but it's about practice.
Yes,
if I
please.
may. You know, in the water bowl practice, there's the water bowls, and each of them represents one of the 6 perfections, and then you have the water bowl for washing, which represents purity, and drinking, which represents auspiciousness. I don't understand how auspiciousness is something that can be offered.
Auspicious can be offered, you mean?
I don't understand how I could offer auspiciousness.
Yeah, auspiciousness is something good, something prosperity, something that good things happening. So of course that is due to your practice, due to your karma. And so you can offer the practice itself, result of the practice itself, you know. So yeah.
Okay, all right, yeah, I get that.
We all want to have auspiciousness in our life, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And so you can offer your auspiciousness to someone else.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you.
So you can practice actually the cause, the practice itself, and the result as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Guess what? I believe. Hi, Rachel. Rachel's. Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Hello, Geshe-la. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Good to see you. I guess my question is to go more deeply into the idea of being interested in Dharma.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, all of us have some interest in Dharma, but what I heard you say was that sometimes because we don't have enough interest in Dharma, we don't put all of our energy there. Like we make choices, like for instance, we make choices on how to arrange our life, or how long to work until retirement, or something like this. That is it's all a balancing act about, you know, how to live in the world and be engaged in study and practice. And so I guess I started wondering how to increase interest in Dharma, besides, you know, thinking about precious human rebirth and how it is so rare and so precious. Are there other ways to kind of support our interest in Dharma and cultivate it? So that was my question, sort of.
Okay. I think, you know, there are so many different practices that can help our interests in different ways and for different peoples. For example, precious human rebirth, death impermanent, for some people that will give them kind of interest and urgency, you know, because even though I could plan all this, doing all this job and then retire and practice that, but things might not work that way that we want. And therefore, why don't I give more time now to the practice itself? So that can kind of make someone to have more sense of urgency and putting more effort in that area than before. So that could be another practice for certain individual. And of course, we talk about precious human rebirth. And for some others, for example, whatever practice meditation they might be doing, they might be doing on wisdom, they might be doing loving kindness, compassion, bodhicitta. And when you do practice, certain level of practice, and when there is a certain result of your practice, maybe you see certain result, some improvements, some transformations, certain glimpse of the experience, and that kind of can give you a lot of inspiration for some people, oh, it's possible. No, you feel it, you test it, you test the test of the Dharma, and so now you don't want to give up. You want to test more. You feel like you want to test because it is such, you found such a, for some people, they find it such an incredible joy, inner joy and peace, or some other things, and or really, really feeling so much love, so much compassion, or through the wisdom, maybe some opening, kind of our moment opening, and you think, oh, I want to have that moment all the time. I don't want to lose that moment. I want to have that. And so that can again, give you more energy, more interest, and to focus more on the Dharma and more time on Dharma. So I think it could come more interest, stronger interest could come from many different practices according to different individuals, Yeah.
So part of that then, Geshe-la, is defining practice, like when we do service in the community, when our job is something that is serving people, mm-hmm. and that takes so much energy and effort, but it is in a way a part of our practice in terms of manifesting love, compassion, bodhicitta, in terms of doing something, and not just sitting on a cushion. Is it okay to take our work and our actions as part of our practice too?
Absolutely. I think the main thing is the intentions. If the intention is coming from true love, true compassion, because of that true love and compassion, and therefore we want to serve others, and therefore in whatever way, of course, there is nothing better than that. That will be the highest level of practice, but also sometimes, our intention, motivation sometimes is not also correct, While I'm serving doing a service to either organization or whatever, but sometimes it might be my selfish attitudes, worldly concerns, and so that is where we have to work with our mind while we serve it. So if we work with our mind and trying to really develop true sense of true, pure intention, motivation of love, compassion, then of course that service become highest level of practice of love, compassion. So then that is no different from the practice. Actually, it's part of the practice. But also we know, at least I know with my personal, sometimes the intention, motivation are not, sometimes is worldly concerns, sometimes it's kind of mixed. And so it's not so pure, and then, sometimes even though we have some good intention at the very beginning, after some time we lose that intention, motivation, and we are just doing the job for the sake of doing, but there's no kind of really the love and compassion, wanting to do the service is no more there, It even become kind of hassle and kind of pressure and everything, then. So if we work on that, and if we continue to keep that pure motivation where we started, and all through that, then I think definitely that would be part of the practice, should be practice, and it is even better practice because you are doing practice mentally and physically. Not only you are really meditating on love and compassion, bodhicitta, and with that bodhicitta love, while you are working with that mind, at the same time you are giving your time, your energy, service, and so then you are putting all your body, speech, and mind, everything into the practice. Yeah. Larry, you had something? Yes.
Hello, Geshe-la.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
Hi.
Larry. Hi. First of all, I'm so grateful and thankful to see you again.
Thank you. We miss you here in Santa Fe.
Yes, I'm still in Delaware. My question is, if one is born with some of the endowments and for a precious human rebirth, but not all of them, is it possible to acquire the remaining endowments or the 10 endowments during the lifetime? Or if you're not born with all of them, all 18, you have to wait until your next rebirth?
Well, you know, some of them, I think it can be acquired, but I don't think everything can be acquired. You know, I think, for example, one can be born with a physical defect, but through medication, it can be fixed, you know. Yes. Now with the technology and that it can be fixed, you know, some of the physical defect. And even maybe mentally, sometimes even some people might be born with some because of some, I don't know, chemical things, imbalance, whatever in their mind, but also medically, maybe also that can be fixed to a certain degree, you know. So some of them can be fixed, and some certain other conditions like, you know, creating a cause and condition where you have more support from your friends and families, you know, those can be, I think maybe we might be able to fix some way we can walk around that. And so that, you know, and creating the cause and condition where we are surrounded by more Sangha members that, and those are something we can acquire, we can actually fix in this, but and some other things, yeah, it will be difficult, you know, for, yeah. And like, for example, also being in a place and born in a certain place, let's say the place, being born in a, we might be born in a certain place where there's no Dharma, but maybe we decided to move to some places where there's Dharma, you know, so that can be changed. You know, maybe we might not have interest at the very beginning, and maybe we might have a wrong view, but then again, with open mind, exploring it, maybe our mind might change, and maybe we might develop an interest and faith in that. As those can be changed. So there are certain things that can be kind of acquired and changed within this lifetime, and then certain things, of course, cannot be changed and acquired. Yeah.
Thank you.
Most welcome. So if there's no more questions, then we will do the dedication here. So, yeah, thank you. So again, while we recite the dedication slowly, again, try to feel the word as much as possible, the meaning of the words. And then we also try to dedicate for all sentient beings who are suffering due to the pandemic, you know, those physically, emotionally, fear, worries, anxiety. And you see, you know, in Afghanistan, the situation, a lot of pain, sufferings. And then many parts of the world, including this country, you know, due to all these wildfires and many others, natural disaster, I don't know, disaster from the elements, whether it's natural, whether it's human-made, you know, so much pain and suffering. So we dedicate for everyone who is sick, everyone who has obstacles, everyone who need help, everyone who have passed away so they can have higher, better future life, more peace, you know, so we dedicate all that. May all beings everywhere plagued by the suffering of body and mind obtain an ocean of happiness and joy by virtues of my merit. May no living creature suffer, commit evil, or ever fall ill. May no one be afraid or belittled, with a mind weighed down by depressions. May the blind see forms and the deaf hear sounds. May those whose body is worn with toil be restored on finding repose. May the naked find clothing, hungry find food. May the thirsty find water and delicious drinks. May the poor find wealth, those weak with sorrow find joy. May the forlorn find hope, constant happiness and prosperity. May there be timely rains and bountiful harvest. May all medicine be effective and wholesome prayer bear fruit. May all who are sick and ill quickly be free from their elements. Whatever disease they are in the world, may they never occur again. May the frightening cease to be afraid, and those bound be freed. May the powerless find power, and may people think of benefiting each other. For as long as space remains, as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain to dispel the miseries of the world. Thank you very much, everyone. So have a good day. Again, thank you. Thank you.